Welcome to Irish Street Renovation Week 205. On Wednesday, I'm still in Ireland, running my go-to route by River Login before work. Back at the hotel, I enjoy a little pick-me-up before showering. Call me simple, but I'll never pass on a cup of hotel coffee. This morning, we're having breakfast in the hotel restaurant, whose ceiling is inspired by those in the RMS Titanic's dining rooms. This is fitting because we're taking a trip to the Titanic Museum in Belfast before heading to the office today. I won't spoil the whole tour, but you start out learning about supporting industries such as these textile factories. This projection-mapped floor is splashed with Titanic facts and blueprints, such as the 3+ million rivets used in its construction. In the middle of the tour, there is an option to ride a track car through an immersive construction experience complete with simulated rivet hammering, furnaces, and videos of various construction methodologies.
We were paid 31 bob a week. The heater boy in Catchford at 16 bob. But we all worked.
On the third floor, these windows provide a nice view of the Harland and Wolff shipyard where the Titanic was built. On level 4 is this nice model of the Titanic in full, as well as mock first, second, and third class cabins. Near the end of the tour, you're greeted with this projection-mapped room that vacillates between shades of blue, underwater sinking, and this current gold glowing blueprint construction montage. On the way out is a somber hall of memorial, but I'll leave that for you when you make the trip over yourself. For now, it was time for us to head back to the office. After work, we got to have a couple of local pints, and in terms of pubs, Belfast does not disappoint. On Friday, we're headed back to Dublin for the weekend. My colleagues wanted to tour the Jameson Distillery, so at 9 a.m., we're having whiskey for breakfast. You start the tour with your choice of 4 Jameson cocktails while you're taken through the basics of distilling. I didn't realize that whiskey distilling starts out exactly the same as brewing beer, with a mash of boiled grains to extract the sugars into the water. This wort is cooled and transferred to fermenting vessels, again the same as beer. The magic, however, happens when they take this fermented wort and distill it in giant kettles, refining the flavor and massively increasing the strength of the alcohol by reducing the water content. Segue to the tasting room, where we got 3 samples of different Jameson styles, each getting its flavor from a unique blend of grains and barrel aging. The Jameson gift shop is a good place to spend a lot of money, including on rare whiskeys you can't get in the States, as well as some of these top-shelf options. After the Jameson tour, we head on foot to the Guinness Brewery, stopping at the Brazen Head on the way, which is allegedly Ireland's oldest pub, claiming an establishment date of 1198. After a pint at the oldest pub, we arrive at St. James's Gate to begin our Guinness tour. For those of you who watched my Ireland trip from 2 years ago, you'll remember that Guinness starts out with barley. The next ingredient in Guinness is water, and to my surprise, this part of the tour has been completely reworked with this impressive pneumatic water display. After water, you're going to need some hops in your Guinness, followed by some yeast. I didn't film any more of the Guinness Storehouse on this trip, but as always, the gravity bar up top provides a fantastic 360-degree view of Dublin. On Saturday, I have a lazy morning, enjoying a coffee and a sandwich up the street from my hotel. After breakfast, I head on a run through Phoenix Park, which happens to pass the Wellington Monument, an obelisk built to commemorate the victories of Field Marshal Arthur Wellesley, the first Duke of Wellington, in the late 18th and early 19th centuries. After my run, we head to the Dublin Castle. Dublin Castle, located in the heart of Dublin, is a historic complex that has served many roles over the centuries. Originally built in the early 13th century on the site of a Viking settlement, it was the seat of British administration in Ireland until 1922. The castle includes a mix of medieval, Gregorian, and modern architecture with notable features like the Record Tower, the only surviving part of the original medieval castle, the state apartments, and the Chapel Royale. Today, Dublin Castle is a major government complex and a popular tourist attraction, hosting state functions and cultural events. I was particularly surprised to learn that Dublin Castle is where each Irish president is inaugurated, which, as of 1938, has only been 9 presidents. On Sunday, we round out our touring with a visit to Kilmainham Gaol, a historic former prison. Opened in 1796, it played a significant role in Irish history, particularly during the struggle for independence. Many prominent political leaders, including those involved in the 1916 Easter Rising, were imprisoned and executed here. The jail was closed in 1924 and later restored as a museum. Today, it stands as a powerful symbol of Ireland's fight for freedom and is a popular tourist attraction. If you've seen U2's music video, A Celebration, or the movie The Italian Job, you might recognize some of these rooms, such as the East Wing, which was thought to be rehabilitating due to the natural sunlight let in by the skylights. On Monday, after a full trip, I'm finally headed back to Denver, ready to sleep in my own bed. I know there wasn't any renovating this week, so thanks for joining me on my trip to Ireland, and tune in next week for a return to my regularly scheduled programming. Until then, happy renovating.